Hi, I'm Claudia Brown Coulter with Pivotal Peace. I'm your go-to mediator for navigating divorce while parenting children with special needs, and I'm also a legal document assistant LDA based in the greater Los Angeles area. Welcome to Step 2 Tuesdays. Today we're talking about navigating divorce with confidence, dividing property and debts. So let's understand property division and divorce. First of all, California is a community property state. That means I get half of your stuff and you get half of my stuff. 50-50. 50-50. That's the default. Unless you have a prenup. And by the way, state law is your prenup. If you don't have a prenup, state law is your prenup. There are some people who are like, oh no, prenup means you're planning for divorce. You already got a prenup, boo-boo. It's called state law. So if state law is your prenup, 50-50 is the standard. Okay? There are several different types of property. We have real property. That's your real estate, things that you own. You've got, vehicles, bank accounts, investment accounts, retirement, debt. Debt is also something that comes into it as well, where you're listing your assets and debts. And technically a debt is not a property, but it's something you owe. All right, so then when you're looking at your assets and your debts, you're looking at things that you acquired during the marriage and after the marriage. So, or before the marriage. So before you were married, that's separate property. And then after the date of separation, that is considered separate property. So you've got to distinguish between those two types of things. So people want to know, how do I divide this fairly? And I think by now you guys know that I don't really like that word fair, but let's talk about it. So if you've acquired it during the marriage, even if it was secret debt, it's still joint debt. Even if that American Express card is only in your name, it's still joint debt. It just is. It's supposed to be split 50-50. You're supposed to pay half. They are supposed to pay half. However, that might not be the best thing. If you use your American Express card to travel to Europe for your business, it's a joint debt, but sometimes people are like, but I only use it on me, and I feel like it's only fair if I pay that debt. It's only in my name. And this is where mediation can really help, because you can go, yeah, I think that's right though. The law says something different, but I think it's only fair that I take on this debt because it was just me and I incurred it. And you didn't get any benefit. The other person didn't get any benefit out of there. Sometimes people, your inheritance is generally separate property, but if you've commingled those funds, if you got an inheritance and then you put it in a joint account, it might be a little hard to distinguish that. However, a lot of times people are like, I put this much in for inheritance, you put this much into inheritance, let's take that out, and then let's cut the rest down the middle. I have a lot of people do that. They're not fighting about those things. Some people do fight about those things. Is it worth it? Do you really some people really want to take their spouse's inheritance. California, if you commingled it, it might be difficult. Otherwise, it really does just belong to that one spouse. However, spouses might be like, I just want to get this done, so take half, right? They have the ability, you have that ability to do that. So what are some factors to consider? A lot of times, the state of California doesn't look at this, but because this is not an equitable distribution state, we're a community property state. But a lot of couples look at, you didn't contribute much financially to the marriage, or I made 3 times the amount you did. So you put stuff into the household bills, but it wasn't equal to what mine amount was. California doesn't care. And quite frankly, if somebody stayed home to care for the children, that's a contribution. Caring for the children is a contribution, even though no money is coming in. That is a contribution that has allowed the other spouse to progress in their career. Or maybe it's just that one spouse is in a career that has advancement opportunities, and maybe the other spouse is a teacher where you kind of are at the ceiling. You join, and that's as high as you can go. You're a teacher, and that's it. So there could just be that there's a disparity in the way the incomes are and the way the professions are. So it might not be as equal. Your spouse may not have been able to contribute as much as you because they just didn't earn as much. The other thing to think about is, what are the future financial needs? If your spouse has moved to New Mexico, but you still live in San Francisco, or you still live in Pacific Palisades, your cost of living needs are going to be higher than in New Mexico or in Arizona. So those are things to consider as you're dividing property, as you're dividing your debts. And then the other thing is custodial arrangements. How are the kids going to be taken care of? Who is going to pay for their needs? Who's going to make sure that they're covered on their insurance? What about extracurricular activity? Kids are not property. Pets are property. Kids are not property. But these are things you want to think about as you're dividing your property, because it all boils down to money. And we know that kids are expensive. Then you really want to consult a tax professional, because if your spouse makes you an offer to settle something, or maybe they want to buy you out of the house, think about the tax implications of that. So you don't get taxed in a divorce settlement. So if you get an equalizing payment for your spouse, great, you don't get taxed on that. But if your spouse keeps the house and they sell it a few years later, they're going to get capital gains tax, and they're only going to get the option of being a single person. They don't get the benefit of being a married couple and having a bigger tax exemption from selling the house. So you really want to consult with a tax professional prior to making a deal. So, tips for having a smoother division. Be organized. As you are considering and contemplating divorce, every time something comes in the mail, whether that's email or physical mail, and it's a bank statement, a credit card statement, a retirement account statement, a car note, whatever it is, if it's relating to money, if it's relating to an asset or to a debt, capture that. Don't shred it, don't throw it away. Just kind of put it to the side so that when it's time to complete your financial disclosures, you've got everything at your fingertips. It's going to make the process smoother. And by the way, those things, not only do they need to be listed on your financial disclosures, those forms, a copy of them, need to be shared with your spouse. So keep your latest statements at your fingertips so you can grab them and share them with your spouse, complete your financial disclosures. You want to be transparent. There is no discovery in mediation, so be transparent. There is no discovery in mediation. When you come to mediation, when you come to legal document assistant, the expectation is you are being honest. Don't go hiding money. And your spouse probably knows. You were married. You've said things. They know that there's a secret account, or that an extra big bonus is supposed to be coming soon, or any types of things. They know. Just disclose it. Just disclose it. It's uncomfortable. Don't lie, please. Don't lie. Consider mediation. That will help you. If you reach a stalemate, if you've gotten roadblocks around how do we discuss these things, consider mediation. And then be flexible. Be willing to exchange some things. Yeah, you might give your spouse the house, but they're going to be cash poor. So maybe you don't take as much cash so that they can have a little extra cushion and a buffer. So you'll have more cash, and maybe they'll have more property, but they need a little cash too, right? So you want to be flexible, because maybe you really don't want to be in the house. Or maybe what's best for you, maybe one of you wants to stay in the house, but potentially what is best for you both is just to go ahead and sell the house. So be flexible and open, because if you're not, it can blind you to other opportunities and solutions that are waiting for you to take advantage of them. So just kind of be open. And that's really hard, because so much of divorce is about fear. And it's really fear of the unknown. Where before you got married and you were anticipating and being excited about marriage. Yeah, it was unknown, but you guys were together. And this is like, oh my God. What? This isn't what I wanted. I don't know that I can do this. Can I even survive? There's so much fear. So don't let fear shut you down. Stay open and flexible. Okay. So if you need help, if you need mediation, reach out to me. If you just need someone to help you complete your financial disclosures and get them on the correct forms, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you do that. Thank you for joining me for Step 2 Tuesdays. You have a great Tuesday. Get some tacos today. Okay. Bye.